8 weeks. That's how long it took me to feel bonded to my son. Not 8 minutes, not 8 hours, 8 weeks of diaper changes, 3 a.m. feedings, and quietly wondering if I was broken. Because every dad on Instagram seemed to get that lightning bolt in the delivery room, and all I got was fear, exhaustion, and a guilt so heavy it felt like a second baby sitting on my chest. Here's what I didn't know then. Delayed bonding in fathers isn't a defect, it's biology. And it's so common that when I finally started talking about it, hundreds of dads said the same thing. I thought I was the only one. You're not. And I'm gonna show you exactly why this happens, when it gets better, and the one thing that speeds it up. I'm Mark with Fathercraft. Let's do this. So here's the version you've been sold your entire life. Baby is born, dad cries, overwhelming love. And for some guys, that absolutely happens. Congratulations, you can skip ahead. For the rest of us, and there are a lot of us, what you actually feel in those first few hours is something closer to shock. You're holding this tiny person who is technically yours, and your brain is running about 40 processes simultaneously. Is he breathing? Why is he that color? Am I holding him right? Why does the nurse keep looking at me like that? There's awe, there's terror, and there's this strange out-of-body quality to the whole thing, like you're watching yourself in a movie and the acting isn't great. And after about 3 days at home without sleep, feeling completely clueless while all my other responsibilities piled up, that initial reverence wore off fast. What replaced it was stress and guilt about not being the perfect new dad I thought I was supposed to be. I didn't feel broken exactly, but I also didn't feel what I thought I would. And that gap between the expectation and the reality breeds shame. So here's what nobody tells you. There's an actual biological reason this happens, and it's not because something is wrong with you. For birthing moms, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, often spikes immediately. Pregnancy, labor, breastfeeding, the whole thing is basically a 9-month pharmaceutical ramp up designed to flood her brain with attachment chemistry the second that baby arrives. Dads don't get that ramp up. For us, oxytocin builds gradually, through repeated interaction, through diaper changes and midnight feedings, and the 47th time you hear that little grunt sigh they make when they finally fall asleep on your chest. Your brain is literally learning your baby. It's building the neural pathways for attachment in real time, but it needs reps, it needs data, it needs hours of proximity before the software installs. Think of it this way, moms get a firmware update, dads get a manual download over dial-up. Same destination, completely different timeline. Now, research shows that the more hands-on time dads spend with their newborn, the faster those oxytocin levels rise, which means the bonding isn't just going to happen to you, you have to participate in it. Every diaper, every feeding, every 3 a.m. soothing session, that's not just surviving, that's building the bond. Here's where this gets dangerous, because when you don't feel that instant connection, your brain doesn't think this is normal biology. Your brain thinks something is wrong with me. And you definitely don't mention it to your partner who just went through the physical and emotional gauntlet of pregnancy and birth. How could you possibly say, I don't feel connected to our baby, to the person who spent 9 months building one? So you perform the role, you smile in the photos, and you say the right things. And you quietly wonder if you're secretly a terrible person. I did this for weeks. I held my son and felt responsibility, protectiveness, but not that overwhelming love that everyone talks about. And every time someone said, "Isn't it just the best?" I'd nod and think, what is wrong with me? I know I'm not alone because I've talked to hundreds of guys in Fathercraft's community about this. Their moment, the one where it finally clicks, happened at wildly different times. Some immediately, some at 2 weeks, some at 4 months. One guy told me it didn't fully hit him until his daughter said "dada" and reached for him. For me, it happened at 8 weeks. I was changing Hank's diaper, which at that point I had done roughly 4,000 times, and he looked up at me and this huge grin just split his face. He recognized me, not as that large man who sometimes appears, as his dad. In that moment, it hit me like a freight train. That overwhelming, all-consuming love that everyone had been talking about. 8 weeks late and over a dirty diaper. Not exactly how they draw it up in the commercials, but it was real and it was worth the wait. So here's what you do. First, know that delayed bonding is normal. It doesn't mean you don't love your kid. It means your brain hasn't caught up yet. The bond builds over weeks and months, not seconds. And the timeline is different for every single dad. Second, don't bottle it. Tell someone, your partner, a friend, a therapist, because silence breeds shame, and shame makes you withdraw, which slows down the very interaction your brain needs to build the bond. When I finally told my wife I was struggling with this, she didn't react in the way that I feared. She said, "I'm so glad you told me." And then we actually talked about it, which to the absolute shock of no one, helped tremendously. Third, get your reps in. Every diaper change, every feeding, every time you hold your baby skin to skin. That's not busy work. That's your brain building connection. Don't outsource it. Don't wait for your partner to ask. And fourth, watch for signs it's more than delayed bonding. If the distance you're feeling isn't just about connection, if you're struggling with persistent anxiety, depression, rage, or intrusive thoughts, that's not just adjusting to fatherhood. That's postpartum mental health, and dads get it too. Up to 1 in 4 men will experience depression or anxiety in their first year. I did, and I didn't recognize it because I didn't realize it was even possible. If you're struggling, that doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. And the sooner you name it, the sooner you can get help. The instant connection happens for a lot of guys, and that's great. It didn't happen for me. It took time, reps, and a grinning baby covered in poop. But when it finally clicked, it was the most powerful thing I've ever felt, and it's been building every day since. If you're in the middle of this right now, or you're about to be, know that the wait doesn't mean something is broken. It means something is being built. We made a whole course around navigating these early weeks, Father's Ed. The emotional stuff, the practical stuff, and everything in between. Links in the description. But there's one more piece to this puzzle, because the identity crisis and the delayed bonding both get harder when you're trying to do everything alone. And most dads are. The next video is about the hardest 3 words in fatherhood: I need help. And why saying them might be the best thing you ever do. I'm Mark with Fathercraft. See you in the next one. Adios.